do it, guys! Right. It's Morphin time!
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Does It Hold Up podcast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Emily.
And today we are headed back to 1995 to finish off our month of superheroes with a movie that you might not think's about superheroes, but we're going to classify it as that. For a few reasons we're going to get into in a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and tell them what movie are we doing?
We are doing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
The movie. That's important.
Yeah, not the show.
Not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the show. It's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a childhood classic for me.
This was not a childhood classic for me. Honestly, I was in the weird generation where, like, Power Rangers just wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, they weren't cool by the time you got to that age.
Yeah.
But this movie came out in 1995. I was 9. I was I turned 9 5 days before this movie came out in theaters. I was literally the perfect age.
Yeah.
For Power Rangers. I remember during recesses at school, we would play Power Rangers, and it was the dumbest. Okay, let me just paint this picture for you because it's the dumbest thing ever. If you don't know about Power Rangers, especially the TV show, they had putty monsters, putty men. And in season 2, they got a new bad guy, Lord Zed, who appears in this movie. And his putty men had little Z emblems on their chest. And the only way to beat them was you had to punch that Z symbol. That was it. You could beat the crap out of them in every way possible. But if you didn't hit that Z symbol hard enough, they just kept getting back up. Great, like, you laugh, but that's a great concept. For like a bad guy, like he only has one weakness.
Children's show.
Yeah, it was awesome, but you always had the typical 5 Rangers, 6 Rangers if you include the White Green Ranger. At recess, there would be like 17 of us playing. We couldn't all be Rangers, so if you got lucky enough to be a Ranger, thumbs up. If not, you were a putty man, and you had to run around and just get punched.
Okay, I gotta know, how did you decide who was gonna be who?
Could I tell you? I have no idea. It was just whoever was like, you ran out. So on the ground in our recess area, we had the map of the United States. I'm old. We didn't have jungle gyms and stuff like that like they do now. I'm old. We had this little map on the ground that we would use to play tag and all this stuff. It was really cool. But basically, that's where recess would start. No matter what you were going to do, play football, hopscotch, whatever, you always ran there first. All the boys, at least. We'd run to the States first, then we'd go do whatever we're going to do. So basically, if you got to the States first and you said, we're playing Power Rangers, I'm the Red Ranger, you're the Red Ranger that day.
If only all life worked like that.
First come, first serve.
Yep.
Yeah. So like you had to run up and be like, I'm here. And if somebody else was already there and they were like, ha, I'm the Green Ranger, you're like, damn it. All right, I'll be the red one. And the last person always got stuck being the blue one. And then everybody else was just putty men, and then we would just fake fight.
Yeah.
Fake fight, and then we'd, like, push each other in the chest, and then you'd have to pretend to, like, explode.
I want to know the people who decided to be the Pink Ranger before the Blue Ranger.
Oh, we had girls play.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, we were
Were those
inclusive.
always designated?
Oh, yeah, no. No boys were ever the Pink or Yellow Ranger. Absolutely not. It was 1995. Absolutely not. It was so interesting and so fun. I remember, like, Power Rangers was I was a Power Ranger, I'm pretty sure, for 1 year for Halloween. Like,
no doubt. I
Power
feel like
Rangers,
every single kid was in the 90s.
It was the thing when I was young. And this movie came out at the perfect time for me.
Yeah.
So, with that all said, let's start talking about the movie.
Yes.
What's the movie about?
So this movie is about the titular Power Rangers as they're facing their greatest foe yet. They are, an ancient threat comes alive. Basically, people unearth this magical purple glowing egg and aren't like, oh my god, the world is gonna end. They're like, okay, cool, we'll just have, like, Joe sit and, like, look at it.
Let's crack it open.
Yeah.
That looks like a really good omelet.
And, like, all the normal Power Ranger bad guys come and they're like, hey, we're gonna open this thing because we know who's in it and they're awesome. They open it, the guy's terrible, takes over all the bad guys, and it's like, I'm Ivan Ooze.
Best name ever.
Is a very apt name for this guy because literally his powers are ooze.
He spits a loogie and it creates monsters. He spits a gooey loogie and it creates monsters.
And that comes
But
with
not
one
just
of the
one.
best one-liners of nice distance.
Yeah, oh, it's so good. Hawks that loogie and then the little henchman's like, nice distance. Yeah, so good. All right, I'm sorry, continue.
So Ivan takes over the bad guys, and then he goes and takes over the Rangers, mainly Zordon, their head guy who gives them all their powers. So the Rangers then get stripped of their powers. They have to go to another planet to get new powers and save Zordon and the planet from Ivan's master plan of making slime to take over the parents of Angel Grove,
Angel Grove, yep.
and unearthing these big robots that are ooze powered.
Yeah, what his plan was after that, who knows?
Yeah.
But destroy Angel Grove, take over the world.
Yep.
That's it. Step 1, Angel Grove. Step 2, the world.
Yeah. And of course it ends in a giant robot fight.
Of course it does.
Because, you know, it's Power Rangers.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk.
Yes.
Let's go through our people.
There's a lot to go
Let's
over.
go through our people.
Yeah.
So first up, we have Alpha 5. Yeah. Alpha 5 is a sentient robot creature who works with Zordon, who's kind of like the tech genius. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Okay, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. He's absolutely useless and terrible, and I hate him.
Okay, podcast over. I'm done. I can't. I quit.
I told you I was going to get a lot of flack for it.
Yeah, no.
It's
In the movie, he is.
Yeah.
In the movie, he 100% is.
I mean, that's, once again, I'm only basing it off of the movie. I didn't watch the TV shows. I don't know any of the other media outside of that, so this is all I have to go off of, and I just did not care for him in this movie.
Fine.
He was just annoying.
So Alpha 5 was played physically by Peta Marie Rickson, and was voiced by Richard Horvitz.
They were both terrible.
No. Peta was great. The movements of Alpha 5 are very unique and
That is
distinguished
fair.
from other robot creatures. So,
And
no, totally
very in line with this universe on how they gesture.
overly gesturing. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we have Zordon, who, like you said, is the one who gave the powers to the Power Rangers, and he kind of controls them and tells them to go on missions. Mm-hmm. He is played by Nicholas Bell, but sometimes he is voiced by Robert Manahan. I don't know why Bell couldn't also do the voice, but maybe they just needed a more powerful.
Yeah, I'm
Zordon
wondering if the
voice.
voice was done like when he was just the face versus
Yeah,
when
and
he
then
was
when
his
he's the
body.
person, that's Bell.
Yeah, because
so
in the movie,
Tell me about Zordon.
I'm breaking him down into the two parts.
Okay, go ahead.
Because in the movie, he's obviously the head like he is in the TV show, and then when he loses all his powers, he's at his actual body, and you get to really see him. Him as the face in the screen is just like bland. It's just like, oh, you're kind of what I pictured for that character. But him as the body felt like he was in a better movie than everyone else in the cast. Like, he was putting way more into it than anything. Like, I feel like that is the voice and the look of how he should always be, because he actually felt so much better than this movie deserved.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah, Zordon's great. Listen, I'm not going to say anything bad about most of the people here, because this is nostalgia glasses all the way for me.
Yeah.
I literally giggle like a f***ing school kid again watching this movie. I'm cheering for some of the parts that are like so stupid, like 10 minutes before they even happen, because I know they're coming, and I'm just so excited. Because the 10-year-old in me is like, this is the best thing I've ever watched.
He literally made me write down the characters.
No,
like...
don't say it. Don't say it yet.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, I think the face in the glass tube, is really cool. It's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, it's not an actual person, because he doesn't have the power to actually exist. He can only exist in this tube. Mm-hmm. Cool concept, especially for a kid's show.
Oh, yeah.
But is it done the best? No. But when the glass breaks after Ooze gets there and he's an actual body, all of a sudden it's like acting.
Yeah, dude.
So it's a little bit confusing, because it takes me out of the movie, because I'm like, you don't fit. You don't fit.
Yeah.
So-
like I said, I feel like he was in a different movie.
All right, before we get into the Rangers, because I feel like we shouldn't break up the Rangers, we're going to talk about Ivan Ooze,
Okay.
the bad guy.
Yeah.
All right. Ivan Ooze was played by Paul Freeman, who was in such classics as like Indiana Jones. Which one was he in? He was in Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
Is one of the bad guys. I think he was one of the bad guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Come hit me up on the socials. Let me know I'm totally wrong at this. We don't have a producer, so we don't have anybody to Google it right now. So I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
All
Why
right.
not?
But he was in Indiana Jones. He's actually had a long acting career. To be fair, right? It sounds insane, but this movie was kind of sought after by some actors for some roles. Like
Well, Power
Danny-
Rangers was a massive...
Danny DeVito auditioned, or at least was asked to audition for Ivan Ooze. Like, think about that.
I could see him in that role.
There's some other good actors too. I didn't write them all down. That was just the one that stuck out. But there was like named actors and actresses who were asked to audition or who did actually audition to be in this movie. So don't take this lightly as like, wow, this must be a step down. No. This was big. People wanted to be a part of this.
Yeah.
All right, talk to me about Ivan Ooze.
He was a fantastic villain. I loved him. He was menacing, but also you got that
Sassy.
Sassy.
So sassy.
This is a kids movie, so he can't be like super like, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone. It was definitely it rode that line of being a villain, but also being like childish enough so well, and I thought he killed it. Once again, he was in a much better movie than everyone else. Even his prosthetics were better than most of the others.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He looked wonderful. He acted wonderful. It's funny that you used the word killed. I didn't want to add this to the Google section because I was going to add it right here. But only time, as far as I understood and through my Google searches, only time in the history of the Power Rangers franchise is the word kill used. And it is by Ivan Ooze in this movie. They never used the word kill before this movie. They never used the word kill after this movie. He's the only character in the history of Power Rangers that uses the word kill.
Well, I feel like he is the biggest threat.
Well, he's not going forward. I mean, they're on like
Yeah.
season 48 million of Power Rangers and 17,000
But at this point,
variations.
he literally handed their other villains their butts in this movie. So he was shown to be this credible threat who
It's
could
just
actually take over the world.
Yeah, it's just crazy in this kid's movie to just use the word kill.
oh, yeah.
Kill people.
And then, of course, the people are like, we're going to walk to our doom.
But Paul Freeman was he was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like you said, he brought this wonderful menace, but it was like a cartoony menace. But like,
what also wasn't like so cartoony that it was took you out of the movie.
When we were talking, when we did our other podcast like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we did a running list of the scariest movie characters of all time. Mm-hmm. If I expanded this to like 10, it's very possible, because we only did top 5.
Yeah.
But if we expanded it to 10, it's very possible Ooze could sneak his way in there. Because as a child, he was terrifying. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my God, nightmare fuel. Even though he was jokey, there was always this weird undertone of like, he could snap at any minute and just literally wipe everyone out.
Oh, yeah.
He does not care.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, wonderful, wonderful performance. Really cool character. Probably the best character in this whole movie. Has the coolest arc, has the coolest story, gets the best lines.
Easily.
They went, we have a really good idea for a villain, and then built the movie around him.
Basically, they were like, we like this villain so much, he can't just be on the show. We need to make a movie.
Exactly. All right, let's get into our Rangers. Any particular Ranger you want to talk about first? How do you want to do? I don't want to alienate Rangers.
My problem is I didn't get enough time with any single Ranger to know anything about them.
All right, well, I know the Ranger we're going to talk about last.
Okay.
That's White.
Yeah.
So who do you want to talk about first, otherwise?
The only other Ranger I got anything from was Pink.
All right, let's talk about Pink. Go
Okay.
ahead. What do you got?
She was the pretty one that was with the White Ranger. That's all I got to know about them in this movie. They literally, and I'm gonna go on about this later, but if you don't watch the show, you get really lost.
Okay, well, then let me just run through this.
I'll let you talk about them.
All right, so Pink Ranger, her name is Kimberly Pink Ranger. She is played by Amy Jo Johnson. She was my first crush. I think
feel
she
like
was a lot
the
of
Pink
boys.
Ranger was a huge crush for
she's
a lot of boys.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Everyone
so,
I know
so many.
talks about the Pink Ranger.
Oh, yeah. There's a few other girls out there around that time, but Pink Ranger, whew, yeah, boy. But she's cool. She seems like that, like, cool girl you could hang out with and actually have a conversation with and, like, do stuff with, but is, like, really hot at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think they do that pretty good in this movie. She gets a lot of, like, look how sexy I am in my crop top, but then also watch me backflip and then kick this dude in the face.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
One of the things I love, and I'm just gonna bring it up now because it fits, is I like the fact that they didn't make the women damsels in distress. And I know this is kind of part of the show, but they're holding their own against all these monsters.
Better than the boys sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know there were a few times that they needed to be saved, but not nearly as much as a lot of other media in this time.
Oh yeah, all right.
So
let's go into the Blue Ranger, who is Billy, played by David Yost.
It was actually funny that you said that no one wanted to be the Blue Ranger, because while I was watching this, I was like, he's kind of useless, isn't he?
A little bit.
Yeah, which is really sad.
He's kind of useless in the show, too.
Although
he's the smart guy.
He's one of those guys, though, that permanently has sad face. So, like, his eyebrows were always up.
Yeah, I mean, if you know any of the background stories about the show and this movie, you'd understand why he has constant sad face.
Resting sad face.
It's just... It's bad. I'm not going to get into it here, but if you want to know, you can easily Google it. Look up David Yost, Yost, and just read his stories about his time working on Power Rangers. It ain't good.
It's amazing then that he's able to put on that kind of camaraderie with all the other people if his time was not good there.
You say he's useless, but he definitely had some of the best acting for me. Only in the way of, like, he understood the assignment better than I think everybody else in the movie.
Well, I kind of say he was useless because I feel like he was underused. Like,
absolutely.
We saw everyone else fighting, like, so much. Like, they heavily paid a lot of attention.
Because he's not the fighter, and the movie doesn't do a good job of showing that. On the show, he's the smart guy. He's the science guy. He solves the problems. He's not the fighter.
But that's kind of the problem of this movie, is it didn't show you anything about these characters.
All right, so then we got Black Ranger. His name is Adam, and he is played by Johnny Young Bosch. Or Bosch. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. He's fine.
Yeah. Out of all of them, I'm like, he's the cute one.
Oh, he's the cute one. Okay.
Yeah.
You're definitely wrong, but okay. Out of boys, he's not the cute one.
Oh, he was to me.
Yeah. He's fine. We'll get into some stuff later when we get into our knit orchard.
Yeah.
He existed. I don't really think they gave him anything. It was like, hey, we just need a ranger.
Yeah.
There he is.
Well, it was like, once again, they did that to everyone except for the pink and white ranger.
Yeah, he did some of his own stunts though.
That is cool.
A lot. Actually, a few of them did their own stunts. They learned martial arts. They had to know it. But he did more than everybody else except for one other person that we'll get to. Next up, we have Yellow Ranger, or Aisha, played by Karen Ashley, or Karen Ashley. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name.
I think she literally had like 5 lines in the entire movie.
So her entire personality in this movie is, oh, a question needs to be asked? I'm up. Because everything that happened, she was the one that questioned it. Hey, we need new powers. What are these powers? Hey, look, I think that's the bad guy. Where's the bad guy? Like, that's literally, she just question. Every line she has is a question. You need to go somewhere to get
new powers. Where are we going?
Yeah. How do we get there? What do we do? So that's her entire personality trait in this movie, is ask a question.
Yeah.
Then we have Red Ranger, or Rocky, and he's played by Steve Cardenas, or Cardenas.
I feel like he had the best gesturing.
Yeah, he was very animated.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, spent no time with him. None.
None whatsoever.
Like, I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last but not least, we had the White Ranger, or Tommy, played by the late Jason David Frank. And real quick, before we talk about the character, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this movie this week, is, unfortunately, we just lost him within the last week. He sadly took his own life, which is just insane to me.
It's one of the people that you looked up to. And
yeah,
it's like,
he was a huge...
lose him.
Listen, when Season 1 came out, the Green Ranger and White Ranger didn't exist. It was just the 5. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the Green Ranger showed up and he was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And then he flipped to the good side. And he became a part of their team. And it was like, he was the coolest. He had a little flute that could summon his Zord. Like, so cool. Everybody wanted to be him. And then he did some other movies, indie stuff, but he always kept coming back to Power Rangers. Like, he, just like a year ago or so, was on that season of Power Rangers, like in that group of Power Rangers. Like, he showed up all the time. He's been a Power Ranger for years. He'd go to fan conventions as the Green Ranger. He would take pictures. He would sign autographs. He would talk to fans about what it was like to be a Ranger, and he would listen to people just explode at him about how Power Rangers affected their life and what he meant to them. And he would hug them and he would cry with them. And he was such a genuine human being that, like, when I heard the news, it was kind of crushing. I was like, I can understand washed up former star, can't get the limelight again, goes to conventions and nobody's in his line and stuff like that. Like, no, he was beloved. Like, go online and look at all the tributes that are out there. Look at all the people posting photos and videos of him from the past 10, 15 years of the convention stuff and all that. I don't know, we don't know what's going on in his personal life, what's in his head, all that stuff. But the outward presence he put while fighting his demons of just, I love my fans so much that I'm going to be there and I'm going to listen. I'm going to be a part of their life still. And all these other people were like, oh man, Power Rangers, that was a trip. I did it so that I could get in Hollywood and get a paycheck, and I dropped it. He was like, no, I did Power Rangers. I did some other stuff, but I kept coming back to it because it was just fun. I had a good time with it. Mm-hmm. So to lose him, and then to lose him so quickly after, we didn't touch upon this yet, but we also lost Kevin Conroy, who was the voice of Batman. He is my Batman. Mm-hmm. Like, this last month has just been heart-wrenching. Like, I can't, like...
Your heroes from your childhood.
Heroes,
yeah.
like... And Kevin Conroy, like, that one hit hard because it came out of nowhere. Nobody knew he was sick, at least not the general public. Didn't know he was sick, and all of a sudden he just passed from an illness. But this one's hard, too, because he took his own life. Like, what could he have been going through? What was happening to get to that point, know? And I just, it hurts me that he was so much to so many people and yet still felt so alone.
And it's always that one thought of, what could we have done?
What could we have done at a convention?
Any of us done
or
to help?
Spoke to him or sent him something or did something? What could have happened? Because you touched so many lives, and yet here we are not knowing yours.
Yeah.
I felt the same way with Robin Williams many, many years ago. So it's tragic. And with that said, guys, listen, if you or anybody you know is struggling, like, please reach out, talk to people, because I can tell you, no matter what you think, no matter what you feel right now, I 100% can guarantee you that you are wanted, you are loved, and you are needed here.
And you're not alone.
You're not alone. I can guarantee you that. Whatever you think, talk to me. Come hit me up on Twitter. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you all day. I don't care. We will talk. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Guys, you are not alone. I promise you. All right? Now that that's out of the way, I know, super downer moment, but I felt like it had to be talked about. Let's get back into it.
Yeah.
White Ranger. Mm-hmm. Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, he was the one that they were focusing on the most.
He's the leader.
I was going to say he's the leader. He literally has a place of, like, power in the mech suit where he is the one at the center with the main controls, and they couldn't do it without him. Yeah. And he's always the one saving the Pink Ranger because apparently they're having a thing.
Oh, they're definitely a thing. They were a thing in the show. They're a thing here. I thought he was great. I think sometimes his performance was a little stilted. It was a little wooden.
Yeah, very much
But
so.
he had just this, like, what worked for him is maybe he's not the best actor in this movie, but he just had this, like, coolness about him where it's just like, man, you read that line terribly, and yet I'm still like, yeah, I'm all in. What are we doing? Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, he tells this kid at the end of the movie, like, one day maybe you can be a ranger. You know, like, don't give up. And it's just like, it's a terrible, terrible line read, and yet literally 36-year-old me was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a ranger. This is great. Like, you just believed him even though it was bad
Yeah.
because he just had that coolness and charm about him.
Yeah.
So-
I got a little hint of that. I didn't get a lot of that.
No, it definitely comes off across more in the show.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We're going to go into our critical stuff. Mm-hmm. All right. So Roger Ebert did review this movie, which is
Surprising.
astounding.
Yeah.
And he ended up giving it just a half a star. 1/2 of 1 star.
This was definitely not his movie.
No, again, I think it's the same idea. He probably didn't watch the show, so coming into it, he was like, I don't know, some of this stuff doesn't work or whatever. Here is, this is his first paragraph from his review, and it's fantastic. Here we go. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, is about as close as you can get to absolute nothing and still have a product to project on the screen. The movie is like those synthetic foods that have no fat, no sugar, no vitamins, and no calories, but they come in bright packages and you can chew them.
Yeah. That actually is a really good summation of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's
so
just,
good.
it's not going to be for somebody who doesn't know the world and doesn't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
So that quote just got me. It broke me when I read it. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. Okay. Current Rotten Tomatoes score is 32%. Critic, a little bit higher for audience though, 56.
Oh.
It's not bad.
Nostalgia glasses.
It could be. I mean, I'm definitely ranking it up there. Interesting though, Cinema Score, which again, if you don't know what Cinema Score is a selected group of theaters on opening night. As people exit the theater, they are handed a report card. And they have to write down what they liked about the movie and grade it. Mm-hmm. So it's like immediate, here you go. What did you think of the movie?
Yeah.
What do you think this movie got?
B+.
Ooh, so close. A-.
Oh.
This is an A- movie for the opening night crowd.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's probably all the people who watched the show.
That was probably me. But that just goes to show, like, you never know.
Yeah.
Because, again, Cinema Score isn't really worried about, like, was it a good movie? Was it good acting? Was it this? Was it that? They go in going, what you saw in the previews and what you got, did they match?
Is this what you expected?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you expected. Big giant fight at the end and a bunch of cool martial arts stuff
Yeah.
in a kid-friendly movie.
Yep.
So, interesting. Budget was around $15 million. It's pretty big for 1995, but
They
it was
had a
a
lot of
huge show
effects.
and a lot of effects. Sadly, domestically, the movie only made $37,785,198. So a little over 2 times its budget.
Yeah, but that
Not great.
never includes like marketing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it probably broke about even on that. Because they didn't market this one that well because, well, they did, but they did it through the TV show.
So
they
you
didn't
get
have
any
to go
new
like
crowd.
extra big. Internationally, it made another $28,245,763 for a grand worldwide total of $66,433,194. Roughly 4 times its budget.
So it made a little money.
It definitely was profitable.
Yeah.
Not super profitable. I couldn't find home video sales numbers, but I was alive. I was a fan. I saw this movie in 1995 when it came out, and I can tell you right now, it definitely did money
Oh, I don't doubt.
on home video.
I feel like everyone.
I
had it.
owned it. All my friends owned it. Blockbuster was constantly rented out of it. Like, it was a huge at-home video. So I wouldn't be surprised if it made another, like, $40 million in home video sales.
I
So
can see
this
it.
movie definitely made money. Okay, time to get into the fun part of actually talking about what works in the movie.
Yeah.
So here is our holds up section. What kind of things held up for you in this movie?
I want to start it off by the opening scene of this was around the time when extreme sports were like huge.
Inline skating was the jam in
The
95.
thing. And so the opening scene is them jumping out of a plane and doing skydiving and like a skydiving contest where they have to hit bullseye. And then I literally
It was not a
wrote-
contest. It was a fundraiser
Oh, I'm sorry.
for the new planetary or observatory.
I'm sorry. Okay. I assumed it was a contest.
Fundraiser.
All I saw was really cool skydiving that made me want to jump out of a plane.
Facts.
Okay? They
But like backflip out of a
did
plane.
Amazing little stunts here that were just like, oh my god, I just want to watch this. Can this be the entire movie?
And it was practical. Those were
Yeah.
practical jumps, not by the actors.
Obviously.
Everything with the actors' faces was shot on a soundstage with a built airplane and all that. But the jumps itself were all practical.
And they did crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was
And
cool.
it was like, I want to go skydiving now.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a really good moment for
All
me.
right, what else you got in the holds up section?
A big one for me is the innovative and excellent fighting scenes, like the practical fighting scenes. They were done so well.
Yeah, they're not Jackie Chan
No,
or Jet
I mean,
Li practical, huge, big fights. But, like, they were pretty cool.
oh yeah, and they did unique stuff. They weren't just like, I'm gonna punch you like 3 times. Jab, jab, hook. No, they were like doing flips and, taking people off their feet.
Roundhouses.
Yeah, they were bouncing people off of things. They were doing giant kicks that didn't look great because they were doing it from like a mile away and then spinning in the air.
Power Ranger power. Am I right?
That's called being on a wire.
Power
but,
Ranger
yeah.
power.
But most of the fight when
Could
they
you
were
see
down,
the wire? Could you see the wire? Because I can tell you, when we watched X-Men for the podcast last week, I could see the wire.
in one scene
Yeah.
that they literally took out of everything but the Disney Plus version.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Okay, guys, if you want to know, go back and watch X-Men on Disney Plus. Fast forward to the part in the end fight where Jean freezes Toad in the air, and then he falls to the ground.
And then jumps back
And when
up.
he's getting up, look at his back. You can see the wire.
Yeah, it is so noticeable. Anyway, when they're on the ground and they're fighting, it is done really well, and it's not cut all to hell. It is so good. I've seen much worse fights in MCU movies.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, MCU, take a note here.
We don't need 18 cuts to throw one punch.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. A couple things that I have. I have Ivan Ooze, the bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he holds up so good.
I
He's
have
still
a
creepy.
few things about Ivan that
Yeah, he's
holds up.
still creepy.
Yep.
His power set's a little undefined, but I don't care. It's still cool as hell. His accent was fantastic. His prosthetics were really cool. His
they
little
were.
like twisted goatee thing is like made
out
of
of, like,
spikes.
talons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cool. Like great. The way he moved, everything about him was just awesome. Like
Oh, dude.
even today, it's just awesome.
His plan to use bottled like slime
That he gave away for free.
it would definitely work,
Oh, absolutely.
even still today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I might do it tomorrow.
I'm like, dude, I want slime.
Yeah.
Can I have slime?
Like these kids are just walking down the street. Okay, so Ivan Ooze's plan, guys, is he's going to give away this free goop slime stuff, the ooze,
Yeah.
and it has no effect on children, but it affects
kind of
adults.
Makes them like want to party. I
yeah,
guess.
whatever.
I don't know.
I don't care about that. But it affects adults to be mind slaves to ooze, and he gives it away for free to every single kid and teenager in Angel Grove.
Yeah.
And then every parent, for some reason, touches it.
Yeah.
And gets mind controlled. And then he makes them dig up this big robot so he can take over the world. Brilliant plan.
Oh yeah. And then to get rid of them, he sends him off mind control to jump
Walk off a cliff. Yeah.
Walk to our doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible plan.
Yeah.
It
would work.
I watch bad guys now and their plans are like super complicated. And this dude's like, I'm just giving away free
Yeah.
It's awesome.
People love free stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about Ooze is it actually had a decent effect when like being splatted. The little minions guys.
Oh yeah, I didn't know we were moving on to that, but yeah.
It's still part of the Ooze.
Yeah, no,
bad
go ahead.
guy scheme.
Keep going.
Obviously, he does his little spit thing, and that makes little minions.
Not these ones. These ones aren't the spit ones.
How did they get created?
These are the lightning ones. He reaches his hands up, and lightning shoots into the ground, and then they form.
Yeah, makes no sense, but yes.
You know what? Just roll with it.
Yep, that's what
Ivan
I'm
Ooze
saying.
is
I'm rolling
perfect.
with it.
Yeah.
Rolling with it. But, the Rangers fight them, and they beat them by, throwing them against things, and they turn into splat. They turn into the, ooze. And it's actually a really decent effect, and that's way better than most of the other effects in this movie, so I wanted to give it praise.
But, when she's talking, guys, it's literally, they kick this ooze creature and send him flying, 50 feet into the side of, a scaffolding, and as soon as he hits it, he explodes into goo.
But then on the wall, there's, the outlining of a dude in goo.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's way better than most things I see today.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. Another thing I have is the prosthetics. So, Ivan Ooze's prosthetics, we kind of already talked about. They look fantastic. The prosthetics on Lord Zed, who is only in a small... Lord Zed, we didn't talk about him. He's one of the bad guys from the TV show, him and Rita Repulsor, who get pushed to the side for
He's
Ooze.
the one that Ooze kind of hands their butts to them.
Yeah. And then he traps them in a snow globe. But, Zed looks cool.
Yeah.
He looks awesome. He's in a full-body suit with, really cool, detailed, armor-type stuff. And he's got a moving brain. And,
yeah,
dude, he looks
that
so
part
cool.
was creepy.
And then the ooze monsters who explode, they look kind of cool. Mm-hmm. The bird creatures later don't look as cool.
Yeah.
But they're still kind of cool.
Yeah.
The prosthetics, though, they're really good.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought they'd be on a $15 million budget in a kid's movie.
Oh, yeah. Knowing that they had to do a whole bunch of effects plus a ton of prosthetics. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's another thing you got? I got some more stuff, too.
They had, the best comedy coming from the villain sidekicks.
Oh, so good.
It was pristine. Literally him hawking a loogie to make bad guys, and they're, good distance. They had great one-liners that just had me cracking up. This is a great movie if you know what you're getting into and want to laugh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because this movie had me rolling.
Oh, it's so many good one-liners. We almost added an award to the end of this, in our award section of just best one-liner, but there's too many. There's too many to pick
too
from.
Many. I was trying to narrow it down, and I kept just saying one.
And then
another,
laughing.
And saying another.
And it was oh, here's another good one. Laughter. Here's another good one. Laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Other stuff I have, some of the fights were great. We kind of already touched upon that. Just, they look really cool. They look real. Mm-hmm. Other than you said, the wire work stuff. But it's not okay, we're going to go hand to hand where you're blocking my 17 punches while I'm also blocking your 20 punches. And then we're going to kick each other at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to, it was listen, I'm going to throw a bunch of punches. Then I'm going to spin and I'm going to kick you in the face.
Yeah, it really sampled from multiple different fighting styles as well, which is really nice. That whole idea of the kicking out the legs, but also doing the crazy jump kicks in Asian martial art movies.
Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, stuff
exactly.
like that.
So they sampled from different places, which made it feel a lot more unique than a lot of the fight scenes we get today.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when you're don't get me wrong, Marvel fight scenes and superhero fight scenes nowadays are cool. Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Some of them look really cool, and they look a little more impactful. Some of these punches and kicks looked weak.
Yeah.
But they looked cool.
True.
And that's all that matters to a 10-year-old. Does it look cool? And that's what they went for. Does it look cool to a 36-year-old? Well, yeah, kind of.
A little bit.
A little bit. Another thing I have, the sets and locations. They filmed this in Australia, and it's gorgeous.
It is very pretty.
But the sets they built were really cool, too. They were simplistic. They go to the shrine on the other planet when they go to get their new powers. They go to this shrine, and that's where they get their new power, right? They get their new suits. They get their new power. Mm-hmm. It's so cool looking. If I had a backyard, it would look like that. It just looks cool. I like it.
Yeah.
They should do more of it. And they did. The temple that they go to, the forest they're walking through. It's great. It's great. I loved every set and location was awesome.
Yeah.
Set design was really cool too. All the little add-ons, all the little extra things placed around, especially when they're in the forest walking through and there's bones and stuff scattered everywhere. And it's like, guys, this is a kid's show, remember? You don't have to show that much dead stuff. But it didn't matter. It just was great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Last thing I have is I have two more. Sorry. The one-liners we already talked about. They're great.
So good.
And then the practical effects. We kind of touched upon that with like the skydiving. But at one point they fight a giant skeleton dinosaur.
Yeah.
I'll call it a dinosaur.
It looked like a dinosaur.
That, reanimated giant skeleton dinosaur. And there's parts of it that are definitely CGI, and you're like, oh my god, that looks like crap.
Yeah.
But then there's parts of it that are completely practical, and you're like, yes, I need more of that, like, more practical, less other crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, they do inline. So after they do the skydiving, they have to go to another location, and they just all happen to have their rollerblades and helmets and pads. So they strap in.
Everyone in the 90s did.
100%.
You didn't go anywhere without them.
100%. I knew where my blades were at all times. But they strapped in, they go inline skating, and again, they just hired stunt people, skaters, and just said, hey, go skate, we're going to hide your face as much as possible and do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Do some jumps and some grinds and some other stuff, and like, that's just cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's just cool. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
This movie's just full of, like, cool things to look at.
Well, yeah.
And, like, the fact that the monsters they fight, because it's 1995 and they're not going to CGI everything, they fight bird creatures that are literally there. They fight big...
They're just people in bird costumes.
They fight big alligator-looking monster things with armor and weapons who are just really there. There's one part where they're fighting that big alligator guy, and they kick him, and then they push a giant boulder on him, and he falls down a wall of stone steps, and it's just a stuntman in a suit falling down steps.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
I wouldn't necessarily go awesome, but yeah.
No, it looks awesome.
It looks really good.
It looks cool because it's like, it's real.
That's true.
They didn't just...
It has weight to it. It has everything.
The boulder's real. I mean, it's not a real rock, but it's really physically there. They didn't CGI in this big boulder to make it like 5 times the size so it looks dangerous. Like, they're like, no. It looks good.
Yeah.
Roll with it. So
Yeah.
I just really like that. What else you got in your holds up? Anything?
No, we kind of covered all of it.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised how much held up in this movie still.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be all negative.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the not fun part of what doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We've
Start.
kind of already talked about some of these.
Tear it up.
There is literally, it's terrible dialogue. It is so cringy, so campy, and everything, included with some really bad, like, over gesturing and the weird sound effects that go along with it just make this movie seem so ridiculous that I got taken out of it at some points. It made me laugh, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't there to make me laugh, so it kind of doesn't hold up in that sense.
Facts. Yeah, it's not a well-written script. The one-liners are like everything Ooze says, and all the one-liners from Power Rangers are the only things that work.
Yeah.
Everything else, toss it in the bin.
Yeah, and this is another one of those movies where it's just a really big product of its time.
Yeah.
So you can definitely tell when it was made, and it really dates itself with the lingo that it uses, the costumes that they're in, like having to have all the guys tear off the sleeves of their shirts, you know. They don't physically do that in the movie, that just their shirts have no sleeves, and you can tell they were torn off. But it's
that was
so
the
much
second,
the movie of its time.
The dialogue was the second thing I wrote down in my doesn't hold up. The first thing I wrote down is contradictory to something you already brought up in the holds up part, the extreme sports.
Yeah.
It's nobody's just out there being like, I'm going to skydive onto this thing and then put on my inlines and go skating.
To be fair, I only had the skydiving part in mind.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just everything about it was like just appealing to kids, and that's just a product of its time, and the extreme sports just don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Not that they're bad, but they don't work.
It's not a massive thing anymore, so it's definitely showing its age there.
Yeah. It's still a massive thing for its group, But in the 90s and early 2000s, it was everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it expanded beyond the actual people who like it, where everybody was in on it. So
Yeah.
it just doesn't work for me. Then I had the dialogue. The next thing I have is the CGI.
Yeah, it's so bad.
The practical is really good. Sometimes the CGI just isn't as egregious. Like Ooze's lightning is fine.
Yeah.
It's
I
cut.
agree.
It's like Microsoft Paint lightning, but it's not like taking you out of the moment lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the dinosaur skeleton, the giant robots at the end.
Oh, they are the
Like, it's
absolute
just-
worst. Yeah.
It's just the CGI just doesn't hold up, and it's sad to think that this movie came out the same year as Toy Story,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you could have.
Yeah. If given a little bit more, maybe more money or something
money.
like that, like some.
But also
given the
access
time.
to that technology, because
True.
Pixar created their own software to create Toy Story, so they
True.
just didn't have access to it. But
Yeah.
it's just the CGI definitely doesn't hold up at
I mean,
all.
trying to make anything shiny. Just,
Oh yeah,
is
it is
really
bad.
hard to do. in
Even
CGI.
today, it's still
Yeah.
kind of hard.
Yeah.
So, what else you got?
I got it has very campy villains, and I know that's from the show, but like Rita Repulsor and her name, or not her name, sorry, her voice. and- Repulsa, sorry. Her voice, and half the time she's like ADR because like her mouth does not go with the words at all, and it is just bad in that sense. They're funny, but again, I don't think they were meant to be as funny as they end up coming across.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The next thing I have on my list is the story. Everything outside of Ooze's plan is just, who cares?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we got from Ebert, saying like this is a movie that really doesn't do anything. It does the least amount it had to do to get a product out there.
Yeah.
And I was like it
the
felt
whole
like a lot
idea-
of filler.
The whole idea of like, they gotta lose their power and then go find new power. You just needed to get to a movie runtime
Yeah.
when it was like, why? Just let them have their powers and fight the bad guy.
Yeah.
What is this extra crap we have going on?
Or like their power wasn't good enough, so now they have to get more power.
Yeah,
like,
something.
Get
Or
better.
like Ooze kicking the butts of the other two villains. It's like, why couldn't they all just work together?
Or if you wanted to like
Show his power by being like, now you're my henchman. You know, like,
yeah.
it's just weird.
Yeah, there's so many other things that you could have done that would have made it either make more sense or like furthered their whole storyline even throughout the show. You could have
Yeah.
done it in this movie.
Well, because Ooze is never in the show as far as I remember. I think I stopped watching Power Rangers about 2 years after
Yeah.
this because they had a sequel to this movie called Turbo,
Mhm.
Turbo, the Power Rangers movie in 1997, and I don't think I've ever seen that. So I think by that point, like Power Rangers were out of my life.
yeah.
But I don't remember ever seeing Ooze after this movie. He's a one-off. So it's like,
Well,
why did you do
not
all
only
this
that-
to just get rid of him?
But they literally go to this other planet and get like other animal like spirits in them. But then when they like get all their actual power back, they're just back to the exact same way that they were with the original animals. So it's just like that whole side plot felt unnecessary. At that
Absolutely.
point.
So yeah, the story just is weird. Doesn't hold up at all for me. What else you got?
My only other thing I'm gonna actually go to when I get to my hot take.
Okay. I got quite a few more things.
You can go. For
So the full body suits on some of the henchmen, like Goldar,
mm-hmm.
just look terrible.
Yeah.
They're just bad. Please
Yeah.
don't.
Especially, I don't know the other henchman's name.
Let's see, the pig guy, right?
Yeah, that one.
Who's the pig guy? Pig guy, where are you on this list? Mordaunt, and played by Jean-Paul Bell,
Like
but
that.
his name is Mordaunt.
That was probably the worst suit that you had.
Oh, absolutely. Every time they were on screen, I was like, God, this looks terrible.
I just almost like zoned out on the screen and just listened to them because they were fun to listen to, but they were not fun to look at.
No, like at one point, Ooze grabs Mordaunt's pig nose,
Yeah.
and
It
you
just
can tell
squishes.
it just
It's
it
just
just
foam.
smushes because it's just prosthetic.
Yeah.
It's just foam piece,
Yeah.
rubber, whatever. It's so funny. So it was bad.
Yeah.
The clear product pushing, you keep talking about like they're over gesturing and stuff like that, and I like they're literally advertising what kind of points of articulation their action figure is going to have.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about
like
that.
that's what's happening in this movie is like, watch my arm do these 4 motions. When you get the action figure, they can do the same thing.
So when you have the action figure, you can really reenact it because that's all I can do.
Exactly. So like this whole movie was just made to sell toys.
Yeah.
More than anything else. This is a giant advertisement for the stuff that's going to be available come Christmas.
I mean, that feels like what the entire show is like for this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
It became such
just
a huge
more
merchandise.
Because it didn't start that way as the show, and this being only 2 years after the show premiered, they weren't at that point in the show yet. They obviously had toys, but it wasn't about the toys. This was their chance to be like, we're going to make a toy movie.
Yeah.
You're going to buy all these toys after this.
Yeah.
Next thing I have... oh, no, that was... I kind of combined those two things together, but I do have one last thing. Mm-hmm. When they go to get their new powers on the other planet, they are met by a young woman whose name is Dulcia.
Yeah.
Dulcia. Who is scantily clad in basically bra and panties.
Yeah, this was going to be in my knits.
And it just doesn't hold up because it just doesn't make sense. I don't care how she's dressed. As a 10-year-old boy, I was totally cool with it.
It was very provocative,
but
I will say.
For me, it was like, what was her purpose? Like, she came and she fought off some bird creatures and helped them and then was like, here's your new spirit animals. Okay, bye!
Yeah, go do your journey now. I can't leave. Bye!
Yeah, it's super weird. So, like, that doesn't hold up. But
Yeah.
that's also, like I said earlier, part of the problem of the story. But her in particular doesn't hold up for me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you had nothing else for the doesn't hold up, right?
No, because most of my other stuff I think were more knits than anything else.
Let's get into those knits then. We are going to the knit orchard because we are picking some knits.
Mm-hmm. And I have quite a few.
All right, well, you know what? I have 3. How many you got?
Oh, hold on, let me count.
Oh, you got to... Jeez.
I got a list.
All right, count them out loud. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay, so...
7 knits there.
All right, why don't you start then and I'll intervene
Okay.
like every now and then.
Literally the beginning of this movie takes away from like Star Wars because it's literally a text crawl with stars in the background.
Yeah, it's trying to fill you in on what happened in the show to get you all caught up.
Yeah. It didn't have to be Star Wars.
I mean, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Another knit that I have is the whole backflip away thing that they do. Like, literally, Pink Ranger just goes, I'm out of here, and then, like, just keeps flipping backwards. And then, like, I don't remember which other color.
Blue.
It was blue. Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna join you, and starts black flipping right next to her, and just keeps going and going and going.
So, my first knit is... They get downgraded so hard with their new animals. This is so... I told you to pay attention to the animals, what they have. So just for an example, guys. Actually, you know what? Let's just run through all of them because it's hilarious.
It is so funny.
So the Blue Ranger starts out as a Triceratops.
Yeah.
After they lose that power and they have to go find the new mystical power, he ends up being... What's he? God, what... I should have wrote this down.
Yeah.
I thought I knew them all.
I wrote down what they were, not what they became.
He was like he was a wolf. Ah, there you go. I just remembered it.
Yes.
Right, so he went from a Triceratops to a wolf.
Yep.
Okay. Then we had Yellow Ranger, who went from a saber-toothed tiger to a bear. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's a
Bear's
bear.
still pretty good.
We went from Pink Ranger being a pterodactyl to being a crane.
Yeah.
A crane.
Couldn't even be a vulture.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. You know which one I'm probably saving for last.
I know
and we'll
exactly
get there.
which one.
Then we had Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Who went from a T-Rex to an ape.
Yeah.
That doesn't even look like an ape, but that's cool.
It just looks like a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? White Ranger and Black Ranger. That's it, right?
Yeah.
I hit everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. White Ranger went from being a white tiger.
Yeah.
Or actually in the show, he always said Tiger Zord, not White Tiger. When they all call out their animals, he was Tiger Zord. He was a Zord. He wasn't even an animal. He was a Zord.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Also, totally stealing off of Yellow Ranger, having a tiger.
I mean, no, he was Tiger Zord. It's different.
Uh-huh.
How dare you? But he was a Zord. He was literally a mech.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a falcon? A falcon?
Yeah.
Like
Falcon.
yeah, they call it a falcon, but falcon, whatever.
Another Star Wars reference.
Are you serious? That's a huge downgrade. And last but not least,
The best.
we go from the Black Ranger. The Black Ranger originally is
A mastodon.
a mastodon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know what a mastodon is? Mastodon's like a giant elephant with tusks.
Yeah.
Big woolly, think
Like
of a
a
woolly
woolly
mammoth, but slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Mastodon, huge. He's a frog. He's a part of my language in this episode. He's a fucking frog. Are you kidding me?
He has the best line delivery in that
I know, and we'll get
moment,
to that later because I know it's coming. But he's a frog. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Dude.
What a downgrade. Like, how disappointing as a fan would it be? Like, dude, these guys are so cool. They're dinosaurs and they're big, ancient creatures and they're so cool. It's an ape and a wolf and a frog? Who the
Yeah.
hell cares?
His made me laugh so hard too because if you guys don't know, I'm a massive like Harry Potter fan, and you know you can take those on like quizzes of like what's your Patronus, and it's always an animal. I got a salmon, and I was so disappointed. And I'm like, I feel you on a spiritual level. Like your
yeah.
inner animal is a frog. Like,
Oh, it's so. I hate
and
the
then his
animal
mech
down.
suit of that is just
Oh yeah,
terrible.
the animal downgrade is just it's bothersome for me. All right, go back to your nits.
I literally wanted there to be a nope moment with that the purple egg, because it's a giant like metal hand when it comes out. They literally lift up a thing on the ground that was a face
It's a sewer. It's a
sewer,
sewer grate,
basically.
basically a giant sewer grate.
with a face on it. They lift it up, and up comes a hand holding a glowing purple egg that when they go to touch it, like electrocutes one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't just nope out of there right away, and I totally would have.
Oh,
I'd have
yeah.
been like, nope, that's the end of the world right
Yeah,
there.
they were like, mm-mm. You know what? If it was 2020, they would have put it back. They would have been like, no, we got too much shit going on.
Yeah,
Put that back.
No,
Nope.
don't open that, sis. Nuh-uh.
But this was 1995. They thought they were invincible. All right, what else you got?
I got a few questions. that
Wait.
are
In
kinda
your
nit-
nits?
Yes,
Okay.
because
Give me-
they're nitpicky.
give me one.
Why does Ooze use lightning? Like, especially to create more Ooze creatures? Like,
Because he's Ivan Ooze. That's why.
but literally,
You know what? Lightning is the ooze of electricity.
okay.
That's the answer.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I'll take that as an answer. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. My second nit is after they get their powers. So before their powers, their suits resemble their creature.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Ranger's helmet kind of looks like a T-Rex head.
Yeah.
Then they go and get these new creatures and new suits.
Mm-hmm.
And his head still resembles a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Why does it not now resemble an ape? Why do their suits look exactly I know why. The production was cheap and they didn't want to make new suits.
Yeah.
But why didn't they get new suits when they got new creatures? Stupid. What's your next nit?
Massive. I actually realized two of the ones that I have on my list. We've already talked about how terrible the robot is. How it kills me. And
What robot?
the Alpha.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Absolutely terrible. And the outfit on the warrior chick is just that shouldn't have happened.
Oh, yeah. All right.
No warrior should ever be dressed like that. It offers no protection.
Aerodynamic. No garment, no clothing to get in the way while you're fighting.
Oh, okay.
All right, my last nit, and this is only for people who watch the show.
Okay.
My last nit, they changed actors. Because of a dispute with contracts with three of the actors,
Mm-hmm.
they got new actors for the Yellow, the Black, and the Red Ranger. And had brand new people that weren't introduced before this movie. And then we were just supposed to accept it.
And they weren't introduced in the movie.
No.
They just existed.
They just changed actors and then blah, blah, blah. And then these are the actors who went into season 3. Because this movie came out between seasons 2 and 3. These are the actors that then went into season 3. And it was like, cool.
At least they had the good graces to change the names.
No, it would have been okay if they replaced them new actor, same character. At least it was a character we knew. No, they gave us all new characters along with new actors who we don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Bothers me. All right.
Yeah.
What do you got? What's your last nits?
My last one is another question, but this is a really general one to this movie and to the show, is how does no one figure out they're the Rangers? They literally are always wearing the colors of those people. And at the beginning of the movie, they talk about how they're anonymous and no one knows who it is, and that's, like, imperative. But then all those characters spend the entirety of their lives in that color.
Listen, Bruce Wayne runs around with a mask that only covers his eyes, and no one figures it out. At least these people have entire helmets on when they're the Rangers.
That's fair.
Maybe they're just really big fans of the Rangers. You don't know.
I was going to say, because these 6 people are always wearing those colors, and they always seem to disappear when the Rangers are around. Huh.
I mean, Spider-Man sounds exactly the same when he's got his mask on and nobody figures it out.
Well,
so...
at least that, his personality changes 100%.
I mean,
from Peter Parker to
listen,
Spider-Man.
Listen.
So no one would...
Clark Kent puts on a pair of glasses.
I have nothing for that one. I've never understood that one. I question it every single time as well.
Here, I'm gonna answer that one and your Power Rangers one at the same time. It's not about the visuals. It's about how you act.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks Clark Kent is Superman because Clark Kent is clumsy, shy, nervous, a nerd, and he's really good at it. And then Superman's like super confident and powerful and all that. You don't whether they look alike or not, you're never going to connect those two things because they're so opposite.
But with the Power Rangers, they're cool outside the mask. They're cool with the mask on.
But they're not really cool with the masks on. That's what's funny. When they're outside the masks, cool. They're really cool. They're like, yeah, it's like the cool crowd. When they're in the masks, though, they're kind of like nothing because they're just a fighting force. They have no personality when they have the masks on.
I don't know. A lot of the one-liners came when they were wearing the masks.
I don't know. We'll argue about that all day. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Cool. We're going to move on to Fun Times with Google. I only got 2 little ones because I already said a couple of them.
Yep.
All right. So this is, again, for fans of the show, but it's also just a fun little fact. In the show, you should start with this. For the movie, everything you saw was 100% new material. Nothing recycled from the show. Because in the show, every time they went into the Zords, into the mechs, it was all recycled footage. Some of the fighting, too, was all recycled footage from a show called Super Sentai series. And they literally just took the footage from that show and used it.
That is sad.
Like, they didn't even change it. They just used it. They paid for it, and they used it.
Fair enough.
This movie, 100% new material. They didn't recycle a damn thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting. Another fun thing, again, this is part of the show, but you can't really separate the show from this movie. This is a completely one-off movie. Do you know that? You didn't watch the show, so you don't know that.
Yeah.
This is completely separate canon because when Season 3 starts, this movie takes place between Season 2 and Season 3. When Season 3 starts, they are all back to being T-Rex, Triceratops, Mastodon. They're all back to that. And then we watch them get these new animal creatures during Season 3 in a completely different way than they get them in this movie.
It was a dream sequence.
It's just a completely, like, multiverse thing.
Yeah.
That this is just completely separate. Why they did that, I don't know. Just use this to lead into Season 3, and it's all explained. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. And I just was like, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
I have to add that in there. All right. You already used your questions.
Yes.
So you're good there.
Yep.
All right, so I guess we're kind of going into the home stretch here. So anything else you want to say before we get into our last 2 categories?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready for those.
I have one thing to say.
Okay.
I love this movie.
Sure.
But not really. Okay. Next category is our hot takes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We'll see if mine's a hot take. It might be more of a lukewarm take. But for me, this movie does not work without the show. It cannot be a standalone IP. It could not be anything like that because they explain literally nothing in this movie. I was completely lost. Like, I know the base concept of Power Rangers, and so I was able to kind of work my way through this movie, but I knew nothing about our main characters. I knew nothing about the villains that, you know, the 4 villains that they had besides Ooze, because he actually did get introduced. I know nothing about Zordon, nothing about Alpha. Like, I knew nothing about these characters, what they live.
Alpha 5. Please use the correct name. His name is Alpha 5.
I was giving him a nickname. It's fine.
All right. Well, if we're going to give him a nickname, his name is Al.
All right, Al. But they just didn't give any time or, like, thought into bringing new people into this universe. They were literally like, this is only if you like the show, and screw everyone else. So I can understand why it didn't make a whole bunch of money, because they didn't think about it being its own thing. It should have been like a made-for-TV movie at that point. So that is my hot take. It's not its own thing.
I would say
It
not.
can't be.
Definitely a lukewarm take, because I feel like a lot of people are right there with you, probably applauding at what you're saying right
Yeah.
now. My hot take, they should have let Zordon die.
Really?
Yeah. Emotional weight.
Yeah.
I get it's a
they
kid's
never
show.
do that. Yeah.
I get it's a kid's show, but you know how cool it would have been if he died, and then season 3 they didn't have him, but by the end of season 3, like, they spent season 3 figuring out how to get him back, or how to do something.
Or you get the other godly creature in the warrior chick.
Something. Well, no, screw her. I don't.
I mean, don't
Well,
have her
remember,
look like that, but...
we're canonically, this is separate, so we can't do
Right.
that.
Right.
So again, if this is canonically separate, just kill Zordon. Just leave him dead. Who cares?
Yeah.
Move on.
Oh, can't have a happy ending then.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I wish
I
I
can
wish
see why this is a
Pixar
hot take.
I wish Pixar and Disney and all that stuff were kind of at the point that they're at now, where it's like okay to not have a super happy ending, because this movie could have done it and it would have been fine. Or just, you know, make it canonical and then kill Zordon. And then, like I said, they can bring him back later, because he's an interesting character in the show. Bring him back later. But it would have made a
Literally
really
have all
interesting season 3.
Yeah, have all season 3 being them trying to bring him back.
Yeah. Get this power, like, to get that power to bring him back. It would have been really cool. I think they should have just left him dead. Hot take.
I like it.
All right. Final category before we go into our final thoughts is our awards section, as you guys know. And we always start with our most replayable scene. The scene that if it comes on, you're going to watch it. Maybe you watch the rest of the movie. Maybe you don't. Maybe you rewind this scene a couple times because it's that good. It's your most replayable scene. What do you got?
I got the first fight scene with the ooze creatures.
Absolutely, 100%. I have the same answer. Not even joking. My answer says first fight with ooze monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's really good. That's where I wrote down the whole innovative fighting styles and everything. Like, it is a very wonderful scene in this movie.
Yeah, the effects are great. The combat's great. The choreography's good. Like, it's interesting. It's where you get to see the Power Rangers actually be Power Rangers, and like they fight as human first, and then when they start getting a little overwhelmed, then they change into the Power Rangers. So you get like a long extended action sequence with some good one-liners and stuff like that. Yeah, wonderful whole sequence. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have our What Award in honor of the man from Jaws who delivers that line.
Yep.
This is for either like the dumbest line written or the way it's said. Just something you're like, wow.
Yeah.
What do you got for your What Award?
Literally anything that Rita Repulsor says.
I mean, that's fair.
Literally anything, because her voice is just insane. I enjoyed it, but it was definitely like, oh my god, you are just hamming it up over here.
I would be like, dude, she's so hot. And then she talks, and I'm like, no.
You're a 10, but...
Yeah, she'd have that TikTok filter of, you're a 10, but you speak.
Your voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. My What Award goes to Ivan Ooze. When he breaks into Command Center, where Zordon and Alpha is, and this is where he kills Zordon, basically. He's destroying everything, and he's like, do you know how many things I've missed while I've been gone for 6,000 years?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, the plague, the Spanish Inquisition, the Brady Bunch reunion. And that right there, the Brady Bunch reunion is the line for me.
It is so good.
It comes out of nowhere. It makes no sense. He names two horrible, horrendous, history-changing things, and then drops in the Brady Bunch reunion.
I mean, what does it say about the Brady Bunch reunion?
Which was actually just an ad-lib by the actor.
Wonderful
He
ad-lib.
just threw it in, and it works so well, and I love that line.
It is
but it's
so good.
a horrible line read because it's so out of place. And it's not just the Brady Bunch, that's what sets it over the top. Just the whole thing. Just the whole thing is he's destroying this place, just screaming about the things he missed and naming the most evil things he can think of.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good.
All right, next up we have our, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. Inspired by that scene from Spider-Man 2002, where Norman Osborn says that line to Peter, and it means it's the most
Memeable moment.
memeable moment, because that gets memed all the time.
All the time.
All right, so most memeable moment. What do you got?
I have the, I got a frog.
I am a frog.
I am a frog. From when our dear Black Ranger finds out that his new spirit animal is a frog. And it literally gave me Charlie Brown vibes of the I got a rock
Yeah.
moment of like just so downtrodden because you got like the worst thing that you could have gotten.
Right, the way he drops his head to the side while he
Yep.
says it too, like
Yeah.
so just defeated. You could literally write anything
Yep.
on that picture and it works.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I'm good with that.
I got a B. You know, like just something dumb like that.
Exactly. Like you're an A+ student, you finally get like an A- and you're like, "Oh, I got an A-."
Yup,
Like, yeah,
every
absolutely.
time, yeah.
All right, my scientist award goes to a scene that you've already brought up. My meme is more of a GIF meme because you got to have some movement. It's the backflips during the first fight. Like I could literally see just showing the backflips out of frame, and then people just being like, "This party's so lame, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Backflip out.
Backflip
and just
out.
backflipping out of things. I could see it, and I would love it. It's so good.
That was funny because in my notes I had to literally write in all caps "backflip away,"
Yeah,
with an exclamation
Yes.
mark because it's just that ridiculous.
And I love it so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of the replayable scene for me because I
Yeah.
will watch it again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny that she's just like, "I'm out of here," and starts backflipping.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blue Ranger Billy's like, "I'm with ya," and just joins in.
Yep.
And then they just backflip out of frame.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Meme the crap out of it. I love it.
It is wonderful.
All right. I have a personal award here.
A specialty.
A specialty award for the record scratch weirdest moment. I don't have really a name for it. It's just I guess it's the What the F award,
Yeah.
where you're just like, why did this happen? So, in the end battle, two giant mech, really terrible CGI robots are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Power Rangers in one, Ivan Ooze in the other. And they go out to space so that they can put Ivan Ooze in the path of a comet so that he gets blown up.
What you're talking
right?
about. Yeah.
And they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting. And Ooze just bear hugs the other Zord, the other mech.
And they have to get him
like,
to let go.
They're in the path of the comet, and if it hits, they're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to get him let go. And Yellow Ranger is all like, I got this. And she hits this thing that says, in case of emergency, break glass.
Yeah.
And then a big red button pops out. And she pushes it.
Yep.
And we jump outside the Zord. And this is the moment that gets the award. Because after she pushes the button, we go to outside and we see the two Zords. And we zoom in on the crotch area. And the Power Ranger Zord knees Ooze's Zord in the nads,
Yep.
in the groin,
Yep.
and that's what gets him to let go. And it's like, are you kidding me right now?
It's a robot. I mean, it's Ivan, but like it's a robot. How do you have nads to hurt?
Yeah, it's just, but also like, I don't even care if he had nads to hurt. Just like, what are you doing?
Also, that is your in case of emergency.
Like, not in case of emergency, you kind of like spread wings or something and it like pushes his arms out or
Yeah.
something. No, you knee him in the... I'm so mad I literally just threw my pen because they knee him in the balls. You don't do anything else. You just, in case of emergency, push button, knee to the balls.
Yep.
I hate that moment.
Yep.
I didn't want to make it my worst moment because I think or my thing that holds up the worst because I think there's something else.
Mm-hmm.
But like, God, it just needed its own award.
Yeah.
Just needed it.
It's ridiculous, and I'm surprised we didn't bring it up earlier.
Yeah. Well, because I knew I was going to bring it up here. So, all right. Going next, we have our Jar Jar Binks Award.
Yep.
Which goes to, everybody hates Jar Jar. So this goes up. He didn't hold up at all. So this is award for the thing that held up the worst in the entire movie.
Yes.
I think I know your answer.
Oh.
But go ahead and give it to me.
The entire end fight. As soon as they become the mech people, it is so bad. The CGI is so terrible, and the fighting is just like, I'm gonna shove you. No, now you're shoving me. Like, it is so bad.
Eric, I'm currently handing you my notes so that you can look at what I wrote for my Jar Jar award. Read it out.
The end fight CGI.
Yep. I am right there with you. There's only one answer here. It is the end fight. The entire CGI and end fight.
Yeah.
And it ends so quick. It's just like bear hug, fly to outer space, knee to the balls, over.
Not only is it terrible CGI and everything, but it's like with all the other fights that we get that are so intricate, so unique, and so well done, to have this be your final battle is just like such a letdown. And I'm just like, I don't care what's going on right now, because it's just like, I don't like what I'm seeing. Nothing looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just such a letdown of an ending.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the entire end fight. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
All right. Final award of the night. It's our Paul Rudd Award, because that man never ages. Time can't catch up to him, and he holds up.
Yep.
So this is for the thing in the movie that holds up the best.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about it.
For me, it's the practical fights. It is the fact that they have people actually fighting, in quotes, and they just
Stage
let
fighting,
it.
yeah.
And they just let it play. They don't cut it like 17 times for every punch. They let it go, and they let their stunt actors work, and it looks so good. And I can't praise it enough, honestly. I loved it.
I'm there with you. That's not mine, but I completely understand how it is yours. Yeah. It's great. My Paul Rudd Award goes to when the Power Rangers lose their initial power, they get rid of their like plasticky helmeted suits.
Yeah.
Then they go to the other planet and they get new powers. And after they get their new powers, they get back the plasticky suits.
Mm-hmm.
But in the interim, when they get the pseudo powers, they get these really badass ninja suits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these suits are so freaking cool. Like, just Google an image, 1995 Power Rangers ninja suits. They are so badass.
Yeah.
They look so cool. I wish they could have found a way to use those as the final suits that they get when they get their full power back. Because they are just that cool. Like, I'm pretty sure a bunch of kids for Halloween that year went as not Power Rangers, they went as the Ninja Rangers.
Yeah.
That's how cool they are. And literally watching it for this podcast, I kind of went, do I need to break out my sewing machine and make one of these suits again?
I'm sure you can find it on the internet somewhere.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
They were really good. That was the best
Costuming. Oh, on point there. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Love it. Holds up. Like, other suits are cool. CGI sucks. Practical shit's cool. But these suits, man, I will remember these suits.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
There's our awards. Going into final thoughts and then decision time. Start us off.
This was a fun movie. I enjoyed the heck out of it because I knew exactly what I was getting into when I started this movie. I knew it was going to be campy. I knew it was going to be a little ridiculous. And I leaned into that and enjoyed it so much. But with that being said, it doesn't hold up in any way, shape, or form. Not even close. Like, there's just so much wrong with it. Not even touching that CGI that is just god-awful. I can't even like pretend that it's gonna hold up for me because it just doesn't. But are you gonna have a lot of fun watching this movie? Yes, as long as you know what you're getting into when you're getting into it. That's all I got.
I mean, yeah, fair. Before I start my final thoughts, one more thing that I enjoyed about the movie, that in the holds up department, the original cast for the TV show was Red Ranger, white guy, Pink Ranger, white chick, Blue Ranger, nerdy white guy, Black Ranger, black guy, Yellow Ranger, Asian chick.
Yeah.
That just seems really racist.
Oh, very much so.
In some form or fashion, just seems very racist. At least in this movie, it's like Black Ranger is now Asian guy.
Yep.
And Yellow Ranger is now black girl.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, at least you flip that to get out of that racist area.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It was a cool little thing of like, you didn't have to do it in this TV show, but you did because you thought you could get away with it, but we noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice of you to flip the switch and change it a little. You still get Red Ranger as typical all-American looking white guy, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They tried. They were starting the transition into not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, nice touch. I'm with you. This movie's so much fun. I felt 10 again. I giggled. I laughed. I cheered. I got pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt everything watching this movie. But that is me watching it with rose-colored glasses and nostalgia drink in my hand.
Yep.
Like, I chugged the nostalgia in this movie. And I loved every minute of it. This movie sucks. It's terrible.
Really bad movie.
It does not hold up. Nothing about it you know what? That's a lie. Ivan Ooze holds up.
Yeah.
You know, the things we talked about do hold up. But the things we talked about that don't hold up override all of it.
By a lot.
Leaps and bounds. Would I love to see this movie be like shot for shot remade with a better script? Absolutely.
Maybe not shot for shot, but yeah.
You shut your dirty mouth. Shot for shot. No, I'm kidding. That's fine. Yeah, I have so much fun with this movie. Will you have fun watching this movie? Will a 10-year-old kid today have fun watching this movie? Maybe.
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 And that's mostly because you needed to watch the show before watching this movie.
But they're only going to have fun for the first hour.
Yeah.
First 45 minutes. And then the second half of the movie, they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
The CGI is going to completely take them out of it because they're used to Marvel's CGI and Disney's and everything like that. Like, they're going to hate it. So that's the way I always look at this, is whoever the crowd is for, if they can watch it today and still love it, and still understand it, and still get behind it, it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
No 10-year-old's going to sit down and watch this movie.
Nah.
Or at least they're not going to enjoy it. They'll probably enjoy the first fight and a little bit of the ooze stuff, and then they're going to check out and they're going to jump on their iPad and they're going to do something else.
Yeah.
So because of that, this movie 100% doesn't hold up, but am I ever going to watch it again? You're damn right I'm going to watch it again.
I might not, simply because I'm not invested in the characters, but it was a lot of fun
Go
to
watch the TV show. Go watch the first 2 seasons of the TV show, then watch the movie.
I think I might have
There you
to,
go.
just so that I understand what's going on.
So I have a lot of fun. It's a good time for people my age, but that's the problem. It's only for people who grew up on Power Rangers. Nobody knew was ever going to get into it, therefore it doesn't hold up.
Yep.
Final consensus, we both agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up. All right, guys. That's it for Power Rangers, for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Make sure you come back on Tuesday for our special episode regarding the Power Rangers. No hints to what it is, but you're gonna love it. In the meantime, you can come hit us up on all the socials. Twitter at DoesItHoldUp13 for as long as Twitter's left alive, apparently, because it's slowly dying. Instagram, DoesItHoldUp13. TikTok, DoesItHoldUp, _ between each word. We have a Facebook page, Does It Hold Up, with a question mark. We also have a YouTube channel, Does It Hold Up, with a question mark. Look for our profile picture. It's the same on every platform, so you can always find us. Come interact with us. Come let us know how we're doing on this, what you want to see. Give us recommendations for movies to do, for other things you'd like for us to talk about. We're always open to suggestions. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. So, it's Morphin time. I'm going to go, and you guys are going to keep watching movies.
Bye.